including NATO troops, okay, out of heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. But I beheld, and lo, he had engraved himself a great mountain, okay, and flew upon it. So Yahweh's chariot, what the world calls a UFO, his chariot was so big, it was likened to a mountain. Like, have you actually really seen a mountain in real life? Okay? Some mountains go up so high, they literally pierce the clouds. Mountains can be thousands of feet tall. Think about that. So Yahweh's chariot was likened to a mountain. Thousands of feet tall. So wide, you can't even see the end of his chariot. That's how big his chariot is. Well, what the world calls UFOs. His so-called UFO was so big, you couldn't even see the end of it. But I beheld, and lo, he had engraved himself a great mountain and flew upon it. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven. All right. Oh, that was close. Sorry. Hold on. I'm trying to get this thing set up. One second. Salakia. Come on. What's this tripod doing? All right, let's see how it. Oh, man, hold on. Now the rubber band is like blocking the camera. All right, so my last camcorder died. Salakia about that. I'm gonna continue on to 2nd Ezra 13, and then I'm gonna go ahead and close it out. Okay, so it says, and after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. And lo, as I saw the violence of the multitude is talking about the military of all these different nations coming together and basically calling themselves trying to attack Yahushua, you know. So some of these military personnel, you know, they might have been in tanks, they might have been in warships, you know, shooting laser beams at Yahushua and his angels. You know, they might have been shooting missiles at him. They might have been shooting rockets at him. But guess what? None of those things are going to have any effect on those so-called UFOs. Okay? Okay? So, as he saw the violence of the multitude, meaning the violence of the military, you know, shooting lasers and missiles and all these other things at him, right? He neither lifted up his hand nor held sword or any instrument of war, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as there had been a blast of fire. So Yahushua is going to be shooting pure concentrated fire out of his chariots, out of his chariot. Okay, all that. Okay. As there had been a blast of fire, and out of his mouth, meaning out of the chariot, and out of his chariot, what the world calls a UFO, out of his so-called UFO, he cast out sparks and tempest. Think about that, sparks and tempest. Okay, what's a tempest? A tempest is a storm. Okay. Hey man, that's gonna be a terrible moment. Okay, a storm of fire coming out of his chariot. A storm of fire. Think about that. Man, hey, the Lord is bad, man. Okay, Okay, verse 11. And they were all mixed together. Okay, the blast of fire and the flaming breath. Okay, the blast of fire and the flaming breath and the great tempest. Okay, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. So yeah, you might want to think about that. Hold on. There's actually one more scripture I want to bring out. Okay? This is the book of Revelation, because this is also going into the day of the Lord. Okay? And actually, this is a direct link. This is a direct link with 2nd Ezra 13. Okay? So this is the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 12. Therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants. No. Slakia. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse. Okay, yeah, the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. So, like it tells you in the book of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 1, you know, Lord's well, I'm going to get that too, okay? Let me get that real quick. Okay, this is the book of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 1, and at that time, okay, shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time, and at that time, thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book, okay? So around this time, when the war is going on, there's going to be deliverance going on, okay? You know? Because it's going to get bad out here, man. So, Revelation chapter 12, verse 7, it says, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought in his angels. So the dragon is talking about NATO, okay? The EU, the seven heads. Of the seven heads of the dragon, because the dragon altogether is talking about NATO, the EU, which will be the European Union, okay? Because yeah, you know, NATO's going to turn on America, but that's not going to stop them from attacking, you know, Yahushua, Michael, and the angels, okay? Verse 8, and prevailed not. So the NATO is not going to prevail. The so-called white man is not going to prevail, okay? The so-called white man and his military and his army, they're not going to prevail against Yahushua. They're not going to prevail against the angels. They're not going to prevail against Michael. They're not going to prevail against Yahushua. They're not going to prevail against Michael. And they're not going to prevail against the angels, okay? Okay, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out of the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Okay, so in other words, you know, the so-called white man, he lost the war. You know, he lost the war against Yahushua. You know, Yahushua prevailed, Michael prevailed. Michael prevailed, his angels prevailed, and ultimately Yahushua's kingdom is going to be established on the earth. So these are future prophecies which are going to happen. So there's nothing pretty about the day of the Lord, okay? So with that, I want to give all praises, honor, glory, respect, and blessings to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakakudash. Salutations to the Lord's elect on the four quarters of the earth, pushing this truth in sincerity, while patiently waiting for Yahushua's return. And double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, which have taught us everything we know through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua. DTA, Abad Babal. Shalom. Kwam Yasharallah.